And millions of fathers nationwide are raising their children without a mother.
In fact, the U.S. recently saw a 62% jump in single-father households. Family law attorney Justin Thomas is here to talk more about the changing landscape of divorce and child custody. Justin, welcome back. Glad to have you here. So what is the picture these days? What are we seeing that's so different? Are we seeing maybe alimony being paid to some of these dads, daycare being offered to dads? What's different?
Well, we're seeing a lot of things. For example, back in 2000, about 2 million dads were single dad households.
You know, primary custody.
Correct. You hear a lot about the single moms, but the single dad households are increasing exponentially as time goes by. That number has increased about 62% in the last decade, according to a lot of statistics.
So what brought about this change, and maybe why do some judges also maybe see things differently these days?
Well, I think there's a lot of fathers advocacy groups that have gone to the legislature and to the courts saying that moms were inherently getting custody of children for a long time.
Right.
Again, goes back to a lot of parents both working, more gender-neutral type society where fathers are viewed as just as capable of raising children as mothers.
What kinds of challenges does it pose, though? Because are dads getting, when they get custody, are they getting as much financial help ordered by the courts as perhaps mothers always have?
Well, I do think it is a little more difficult. Now, in Tennessee, we have the child support guidelines where you plug in each party's income, the number of days you're each spending with the children, and then the number just kind of spits out on the worksheet.
It doesn't matter whether you're a man or a woman.
Correct, but single dads are facing the same problems that single moms have, collecting child support from mothers, extracurricular activities, all the expenses that we all know raising children are very expensive.
Right.
You were saying we can kind of punch in some information for dads and moms, here in the state of Tennessee, so that this is not commonplace elsewhere, I take it?
Well, it is. It is different in each state. The child support guidelines in Tennessee are pretty progressive, where they take into account both parents' incomes. For example, I practice in Mississippi as well. They're just going to apply a flat percentage to the paying parent to their income, whereas in Tennessee you're going to take into account both parties' income.
What about alimony too? Because as you mentioned, most people are now working.
Right.
There's not, you know, certainly the minority is stay at home all the time. So do dads get alimony as well?
Absolutely.
How's that figured?
Well, same way that would be figured when a man would be paying it to a woman. There is a set of alimony factors in Tennessee that the court looks at. Primarily, it's need and ability to pay. But nowadays, for example, if you have a executive that's making a lot of money, or a doctor, or whoever it may be, then yes, they absolutely could be on the hook to paying their husband alimony, maybe even for a long period of time.
So how does this play out with these families then? I mean, I would imagine a lot of dads might like it, but I mean, what's the view here?
Well, it plays out like it does on the other side. Not too many people like to write checks to the other party in a post-divorce setting, so at times it can be a battle. But the court, again, is going to look primarily at the parties' incomes. If one is here and one is there, then they're going to try to bridge the gap as best they can.
Do you find, and this may be a stupid question, but do you find that men are not as ready to ask for alimony? Is there a pride factor there, or has that just disappeared? Have we gotten gender neutral enough that it...
I think they're ready and willing to ask. I do think it's fair to say that there are not a lot of women that want to write checks to a man. I don't know if that's just going back to how society has been for so long, but it's the same way. Not too many men want to write checks to women.
To the ex-wife.
I think it's just gender neutral. Nobody wants to write checks to anyone in a post-divorce setting.
You're right. The landscape
demographics
really has changed dramatically.
Thank you.
All right, Justin, thank you very much for your time.